Are we having fun talking Morgan and Peace yet tonight? I mean, we've talked about it a number of times. New, old, and different, right? Well, we get to jump into our time capsule right here. Let's go back 120 plus years and look at these beauties. Just like they were made. Wow. And again, these are coins dated 1900 and 1901. We're in the year 2024 right now. So we're looking at 120 plus year old vintage Morgans. And they look better than the stuff they're making this year, the 2024s. Now, since we're talking about the 2024s, let's go there first. The U.S. Mint raised their prices by 20%. We've all seen it. We all shook our head because silver went up. Yeah, right. Not that much. But the bottom line is, it is what it is. And our choice is to say, okay, but if I bought 3 or 4 of the brand new ones every year and I maybe only want to buy 1 or 2, I can go backwards in time and get the rarer coins for less money. Business always prevails. Smarts always prevail. And this is what we have to talk about tonight. Now, what you're looking at is a row of 1900s, a row of 1901s. We picked up a couple rolls. They were gorgeous. You can tell they've been intact together for quite some time. You can tell because the outside edge on a number of these is like a little yellowish color. The paper roll they were in at one time in history would have been yellow. Oxidation with moisture, and these coins are porous, they're silver, kind of shrinks around the edges, and you see a little of that. I love it because it just proves it's original. And that one coin you saw had a beautiful yellow patina on the reverse. Gorgeous. But look at these. This is just random coins out of 1 each on the rolls we just brought in. We're looking at coins that are 120 years old, and they look nicer than the brand new pure silver coins they're making today. Just one of those fun things. Now let's talk about New Orleans for a minute, because these are special. These are from the New Orleans Mint. Now the Morgan dollar was made for 28 years, 1878 all the way through 1904, and brought back 1 more year in 1921 before the peace dollar was released later that year. 28 years. New Orleans only struck 26 coins. How come? Why? Well, it's a pretty simple one. During the Civil War, the beginning of the Civil War, they closed the New Orleans Mint. The state of Louisiana took it over, and then the Confederacy took it over, but it really didn't push anything out. When the war was over, the U.S. government never reopened the mint at that time. Well, when the Morgan dollar came out after the Bland-Allison Act of 1878 and the introduction of the Morgan dollar, we had no coins being made in the middle of the country, yet we were expanding at levels we've never seen before. We need to reopen the New Orleans Mint. And they did. But that was done in 1879, a year later. Now, Denver was introduced in 1906, so we faded out and closed the New Orleans Mint, the only Southern mint, in 1909. So 26 years. These are at the end of the tail, if you would call it, 26 years. All gorgeous. You can tell it's an O mint, New Orleans, by looking at the D and the O on the bottom of the coin. Go up a little bit, and there you have it. The O mint mark, New Orleans. Now, if you go back to 2021, for the 100th anniversary of all the Morgans, the last of the Morgans, the beginning of the piece, what a fun year that was, right? Well, inside of that, they made New Orleans. They brought it back again for the first time since 1904. The last Morgan made with an O mint mark on it. And again, they closed their doors in 1909. They made 175,000 of those. Traditional is $249 to $299. Last week, Allison chatted about the 2021s. We had a dozen or so, and we were at, $199, under $200 for the first time in a long time, and they sold out faster than, again, the spelling of Mississippi. Not making fun of Mississippi, it's just a longer word, takes a few more seconds, right? This one is 120 years old. And it's less money than buying the brand new 2024s. That's just the case in point. A wonderful thing. Now my market, my competition, has them, right, at 159 and 143 respectively. Look at our price, $79.95, and these are those coins. They're gorgeous, just like they were made yesterday, but we know they weren't. These are the old beauties, the .900 fine U.S. coin silver. Wonderful stuff. I also like to talk about what was going on at this time in history. And I do it when I talk about a lot of these older issues because it kind of brings home what's going on. Right? Today, how many of you lived through party lines? Then you had the rotary dials, and then we got tone lines. Woohoo! Right? Then we got beepers. Then we got cell phones. And now my cell phone has more memory than the first computer I owned back in the 1980s. My phone alone that I carry in my hand had more computing power than my original computer. Right? Funny stuff. Well, if you look at this time in history, it kind of explains what's going on. Right? We have 1900. Baseball, America's game. I might differ and say football is, but I grew up in Green Bay. Potato, potato, right? But baseball. Formed in 1900. The Hershey bar is created, right? Think about that, the Hershey bar. The Gold Standard Act. Why is that act important? It put U.S. paper money on the gold standard. You could walk into a bank and get gold if you wanted it. They had to have it on supply. That changed in 1933. 34. The Wright brothers, Kitty Hawk, right? What a great area of the country, right? On the Outer Banks. 01, the first Texas oil gusher. Yep, in Beaumont, Texas. Panama Canal is signed over to the U.S. after its completion. U.S. Steel has started, right? J.P. Morgan. Teddy Roosevelt is VP in the beginning of the year. At the Minnesota State Fair says what? Walk softly and carry a big stick. And then in September, the president passes away, McKinley, and Teddy Roosevelt becomes president. License plates. We all think of them now, but they were put on cars in New York for the first time. That was going on 120 years ago when these coins were the largest silver coin in existence, still are, for the U.S. Guys, let's put that clock up if we can. Actually, guys, we're not going to have time for a clock. Visit us online, avccoins.com. Sorry about that, everybody, but we're down to like 7 or 8 each. It's going to sell out. Take your choice. Just don't miss out. $79.95 brings it home.